I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing, winds that make the tall grass.
Hi, my name is Larry White, and I am your producer and director of The Inner Beat. The Inner Beat is a socially conscious program that sometimes showcases cultural events as well as community events. And occasionally, we'll even bring you a little song and dance. So sit back and enjoy The Inner Beat.
Because they made the indigenous go into the silver mines and go into the gold mines. And if they failed to bring their quota, they would chop off their hands or chop off the women's breasts or cut the pregnant women's bellies open and let their babies read Open the Veins of Latin America by Eduardo Galeano. It was a moneymaker. They had it down to a science when they enslaved the African. They had the tight pack and the loose pack. If it was a short trip, it'd be loose pack. If it was a long trip, it'd be tight pack. Eric Williams said the slave didn't have more room on the slave ship than a dead man in a coffin. They enslaved our people. And they made money, and people talk about how this is a rich and powerful country. It's rich and powerful because they stole the land of the indigenous people and they stole the labor of the African for 500 years. That's why it's so rich. And whether it's on any politician's agenda or not, we should still be demanding reparations for black people whose ancestors were enslaved in this country. What? Do you need the approval of the New York Times? Do you need the approval of the New York City Council? Do you need the governor to say that it's a good thing? We should say that if everybody else doesn't say it. Like B12 says, they stole us, they sold us, and they owe us until they pay us. It's a power game. And until we develop, you know what scales are, right? The old time scales like they talk about in the Bible. Put the weights on that side and put the weights on this side. It's a scale. And right now, all the weights are on their side. But it's an interesting situation because those who are running this game on us, they are actually a small number of people. What they have that makes them big and bad is that they have state power. That means, in the final analysis, Viola, as you know, that they have the monopoly over the use of force. They can call out the police, they can call out the National Guard, the state police, and the Army. But it's really a few of them. Those of us who are unemployed, those of us who have lost our homes, those of us who can't find a job, those of us who live in communities where our schools are being closed, those of us who live in communities where our hospitals are being closed, those of us who live in cities that have been abandoned by employers and by companies who are going to the third world, we are in the majority. The problem is that we have a minority consciousness. We must change our minority consciousness to a majority consciousness. And then we must struggle. We must build this movement, brothers and sisters. The best thing I think that we can do to honor Dr. Clarke is build a movement that can contend for power. And the rudimentary elements of it already exist. See, you all, unfortunately, we don't have anybody over in Newark, New Jersey like Charles Barron. Now that's black power, getting Brother Charles Barron elected. We need more Charles Barrons elected. But it's not just the electoral thing we gotta build. We gotta build a mechanism that can mobilize our people whenever we decide our people need to be mobilized. And mobilize in great numbers and large numbers. Perhaps if we can do that, we can avoid a violent confrontation, or at least a massive violent confrontation. If we could build a movement based on positive mass direct action and begin to do things like people were doing in Madison, Wisconsin, and in other places across the United States. Look at what other people are doing around the world. Don't you know the whole world is on the move? In Greece and Europe, even in Puerto Rico, people are on the move. We have to get on the move here in the United States and build this movement in our community, because we're better coalition partners when we bring something to the table. If we only bring ourselves, the so-called spokesman, to the table, we're not bringing nothing. But if we can bring organizational representatives that mobilize thousands of people in the streets to save our schools, to save our hospitals, to bring jobs to our community, then we bring something to the coalition. And that is the task, I think, that faces us and has been facing us since the 1960s. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Power to the people.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed, no more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.